according to our global affairs president, Nick Clegg, really what this technology is doing is helping complement our lovely professors and teachers. By no means is this technology to replace it. So we find a lot of schools leveraging this technology to complement some of their learning that they can't actually do in the classroom. And I'm going to share some of those specific use cases, but Meta is really focused, and we are investing a lot in this space because we know how important it is for the future, for the way our students learn. So I'm going to be taking you through what that looks like and the shape of that. And just to kind of share some of the details around how we've seen how VR helps you, automate, modify, and completely redefine the student learning experience, we found that 77% of our educators agree that XR helps increase the student engagement and motivation. You're going to hear from Becky later today around her particular use case at Cornell. She's going to share some of this with you. We also find that the students really enjoy this. They get excited. A lot of the students that I talk to that are doing labs in VR are excited to come in and try something instead of just, textbook or 2D on a screen. And you find that they're more engaged. So if you're looking to drive more engagement, have more excitement in the classroom, this is an outlet. And there's so much value that you could bring, that you can get out of it. There's a lot of ROI with it. So when you're thinking about VR in your institute, there's an acronym that I want you to think about, and if it makes sense for you, and the acronym is DICE. So if this is a learning curriculum that potentially could be dangerous or harmful to put your students in, if it's impossible, like traveling a distant planet, counterproductive or expensive, these are some areas that VR might be able to kind of complement what you're doing. One of the areas that I see a lot across the schools is related to expense. As we all know, costs are rising, inflation's happening. The ability to quickly build labs is very expensive. The ability to buy potentially mannequins, if you're doing a nursing program, it's very expensive. You could do some of this in VR at a fraction of the cost, and I'll share some of those with you. But those are the key areas that we're seeing where our professors and our deans are honing in on potentially bringing VR into the university. Okay, so when it comes to this technology, what Meta really brings to the table is threefold. So Meta is the producer of the hardware, and what we're really trying to do is meet the educators where they are. We're trying to help enable them find the right applications. Uptale is an amazing app, and Marty's going to go through that later in the discussion, but there's a plethora of applications that you can leverage on these devices. And Meta is helping to build this huge ecosystem of these independent software vendors to provide those apps for you. We are also making it very easy for schools to get started with these programs. We have one of the most cost-effective headsets on the market, and we also have the ability to manage these. As a school, it's very important to keep your data safe, privacy, etc. We have a platform that keeps all of that secure within your infrastructure. And last but not least, obviously, we want our students to be happy, want them to be able to utilize these programs efficiently and easily. So we're taking great steps and strides forward to make it very easy for our students to be able to do this. So just to highlight some of the key areas where we're seeing where VR and AR is being used. I mentioned labs. I would say majority of the schools that have a medical college are leveraging this technology for lab work. We're also seeing a lot of schools using it for language learning. One of the schools I work with uses it for their international students to learn other languages. We're seeing it even across enterprise accounts. I not only work with schools, I also work with enterprises for sports training. You could think of some of the big sports teams using this technology. Even enterprises are using it for things like DEI, conflict resolution, sales negotiation. And the benefit of using this technology now in your university is that your students will build those muscles and have them when they go into the actual workforce. And guess what? A lot of these corporations are using this technology for onboarding. So they're going to be familiar with this technology. Some of the key universities that I've worked with, as illustrated on this slide, are really focused on like the medical aspect of it. I think the medical use case is one that we're seeing, over and over again. Like I mentioned, nurse simulation. Imagine being able to do a simulation, have your professor, multiple students, and having that bedside manner, how to communicate to the patient. It's very hard to replicate, God forbid, a heart attack, but you could do that, and you could do it in a safe environment over and over, so that when the nurses do go out in the field, they're going to have that training, they're going to be ready. We also work with other large corporations to do training for medical surgeries. So that's another one that I'm seeing utilized a lot. And you could just think about the cost associated with having to physically actually buy all the materials, have the space. You can only run certain simulations when you're physically in a room. You're bound by the space. With VR, there's no boundary. You can have as large of a room as you want with a lot of participants in the same area learning together. So I just wanted to highlight some of those use cases with you. And when we're thinking about the use cases, the technology, it really takes the whole vision of the school to really make this work. This is just highlighting like where I think the importance is to have a successful VR project. Number one is identifying the right use case. Identifying a use case, you can use, some of those ideas I shared around it being dangerous or expensive to recreate. Like those are some of the use cases, and tying back to like medical training, DEI. Like there's so many out there, and I'm happy to share more. Meta actually has a Meta for Education website where you can go and see some of these use cases and how other schools are leveraging the technology. But I would say that's number one, identify the use case. And then as you go through the cycle here, you need executive sponsorship, because once you get the go ahead that you want to start using this technology, you should have the buy-in from your dean and the higher ups within the university, because it will continue to grow. And IT is key, because getting these devices on the network, being able to leverage the technology and the different apps is really important. So think holistically when you're trying to plan and bring VR in scope in your university. And I have just a couple more areas I want to touch on. As you know, Meta has 2 devices readily available right now for purchase. We have the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S. The main difference between the two, which is very nice, is the cost. Number one, S is for scalable. So I'm finding a lot of universities leveraging the cost-effective entry point with the Quest 3S. It has more than enough capability. You have mixed reality, you have the pass-through, you have a really good field of view with the Quest 3S. And then if you need more robust, more memory, you would do the Quest 3. So that's the main difference. It's cost and also memory, as well as some of the resolution. But work with your Meta representative and decide which one makes the best sense for you. And as I touched on earlier, when it comes to the devices, that's one aspect of it, but Meta does have the platform to help you manage all of them. So manage the enrollment of the headset, provisioning all the accounts. Each of these headsets needs an account assigned to it, and you can do that all securely using our first-party software to manage it. Also, the way you deploy your apps, everything is centralized in our centralized console. And we're going to be launching a new updated version of this in the next couple of weeks called Meta for Education. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be really focused on the education institutions. It's going to give you access to create groups by classes. It's going to give you access to do multi-user casting, which a lot of schools love. They like the ability for the professor to go in and see what the students are seeing. But I'm really excited about that, because a lot of schools have been wanting this, and now we're going to be launching our next version in the next couple of weeks. Another area I wanted to share is around some of the use cases with how the devices are deployed and managed. We have models where students, purchase a headset when they, start their school year. So every student gets a headset. We also see a lot of, schools doing a loaner program. So for example, the libraries or the IT teams might be the centralized location where they store and keep all the headsets, and they just loan them out to the professors based on the class, based on the number of students that need it. So there's a lot of different ways to think about the programs and how you want to deploy them. And I'm just giving you some illustrations of some storage options. There's different cases that you can purchase to store them and to also charge them, because that's an important part of it. So I wanted to just kind of summarize by saying, Meta is really invested in this technology and the hardware, and really just making you successful. My role here is to just educate you and show you what the possibilities are. But more importantly, it's the use cases. And I'd love to hand it over to Becky from Cornell, who is going to talk to you a little bit of how she's using that technology at her school. And yeah, I really thank everybody. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Susan. So thanks again for having me at this webinar. I'm really excited to talk about how we've been using Uptale to solve some of the problems that we've been facing in our institution. So I am Becky Lane. I'm the Director of Technologies here at Cornell University. And I also run the Center for the Creative Technology Lab, which is part of the Center for Teaching Innovation here at Cornell. And what we do here at the Creative Technology Lab is we focus on 3 pillars and work to integrate them into the teaching and learning here on campus. It's immersive technologies, Gen AI, and digital storytelling. And we've been doing immersive for a couple of years now. We've had a lot of success with it. But today, I'm talking specifically about a case study that we've been doing with the Nanoscale Facility here on campus. So the Nanoscale Facility is one of the few facilities in the country, in the world actually, that allows outside people to come in and use their multi-million-dollar machinery to fabricate things at nanoscale. So they have some pain points that they were trying to address when we started working with them. And they have a continuous need to train and onboard new users. They have a huge outreach program where they're going out to schools and community colleges, and they're doing tons of tours and workshops. The machinery that they're working with is very high-end and sensitive. We're talking multi-million-dollar machines. And it's a small space when you get in there. It's packed full of machinery, people running around doing their research and doing their fabrication. And it's a working facility. So it's people learning, but it's also startup businesses doing their thing. And the staffing for the nanoscale is limited at times. So if you think about Susan's DICE acronym, we would say, well, VR is a perfect solution. It's great. Like, just put them in VR, and we did, but we have our own pain points. So we don't have programmers. We're primarily educators, creative technologists, instructional designers, and video editors. So we were looking for a flexible system that really is powerful, but accessible for us. And that's where we turn to Uptale as a development platform. And here you can see our development team. We've got Tom, who is the fellow with the glasses there. He's our contact at Nanoscale, and he's the main talent in the thing that we. And then we've got my team there, the 3 instructional designer, a videographer, and a creative technologist. So that's primarily the core team that we've been using to develop these educational pieces that are designed to help teach at scale. One of the things that's great about the using Uptale at Cornell is that it gives the power to do these overlays on 360 video. Now, 360 video has been around for a while, and we've experimented with that a lot. But what was missing was this sort of intermediary where we could apply some of the instructional design techniques that we use in our classes with 360 video to give it a real embodied and immersive experience.
Welcome to the Cornell Nanoscale Facility.
To sort some of these common objects by their size.
Pick up the 3D objects and place them on the related target on the scale. Take a moment to get suited up in the proper personal protective equipment, PPE. Select the glove. Click on the face shield hanging above the hood to protect yourself from...
Okay. Can you match up these symbols?
Click on the chemical symbols for aluminum and argon.
Great job! Now it's time to start the deposition process. Place your silicon wafer into the load lock and then click on the crank to put the wafer into the chamber. Super!
Thank you so much, Becky, for sharing your experience on Uptale and the amazing work you and your team is doing on the platform. My name is Martin. I'm the US lead for Uptale, and I've been closely collaborating with Cornell over the past few years. And I see a lot of people in the webinar session today, so thank you so much for your interest and for being there. So the vision is to give the possibility to any college today, university or school, the possibility to build, deploy, and analyze immersive training experiences in full autonomy. That's our vision, and to do so, we have a web platform. The platform is fully no-code. We have a lot of users that are using the platform to develop content, and our goal is to give you the possibility as a teacher or as an instructor to train the students from the classrooms as if they were on the field. So they wear the VR headset, they are inside the laboratory, inside the Nanoscale facility, or those are like two examples. And also, like, one important thing is we want to do that at scale. That's very important. VR is not a gadget anymore, and we want to work on like big deployment. Since talking about scale, since our creation in 2017, we did about like 1 million training session on the platform. Our users have developed about like 20,000 pieces of VR experience, which is a number we are extremely proud of. Also, now we have a big family. We're working with over like 300 institutions in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. And I think we have people from all over the world, like today in this webinar session. And finally, and to implement this vision, we are closely collaborating with partners. So obviously Meta, Lenovo, and Accenture. And Suzanne, thanks for being there today. About our solution. What we do at Uptale is we capture the field using images and videos in 360. And we will use that to build highly immersive and interactive learning experiences where the students will have the possibility to learn in realistic conditions. So you wear the VR headset, again, you are inside the situation and you will have the possibility to interact with your environment. And we want to do that from the classrooms directly or from the training location inside the university, for example. The main use cases our customers are working on the platform. Again, it's our customers building the content. We are not the one developing the content, but the main use cases they are working on are around virtual field trips, technical skills, so learning about the procedures inside the laboratory in this example, or as Cornell is doing like inside the Nanoscale facility. For soft skills, doing job interview simulation, public speaking, or even learning new languages. And we have recently integrated like AI on the platform, and it opens up a lot of new possibilities for conversational scenarios inside the platform. Career guidance, which is also a big use case in education. Imagine like spending one day in the life as a firefighter, for example. And also school and university campus tour. It's a more marketing use case. It's a virtual tour that you can, for example, upload on the website. So the students before coming in the university can discover the different location. I actually love these slides because it shows a lot of the things we are doing at Uptale. So on the right, you have more information about what is actually inside an Uptale training experience. And on the left, more information about what we offer. As I was saying in introduction, the first step of the creation process is to digitalize the field in 360. So to do that, we are using like pictures and videos, and we will use that for immersion. So imagine like wearing the VR headset, you are inside the image or inside the video, and you are fully immersed. So you can watch on the left, you can watch on the right, and this is where we get the immersion. But because we are talking about training, we want, yes, to have something immersive because our goal is to train the student as if they were on the field, but we also want to have something which is highly interactive. So our platform will allow you like to add interactive elements on top of the images and the videos. The kind of interactive elements could be a simple one such as text to the images, to the videos or instructions. It could be more advanced ones such as questions, quizzes, or learning activities. Or it could be even more advanced one such as AI voice recognition. So to create conversational scenarios inside the experiences, and 3D objects. I think you saw that like on the example Becky presented the video. You can add 3D objects on top of the images and the videos that you can take, move around, and put somewhere. And the ultimate goal is to have a practical immersion. So it's a fully immersive content. It's also highly interactive. When you wear the VR headset, you are inside the situation and you can also play with the environment. And everything that we do on the right is done on a web platform. The platform is fully no code. No need to be an engineer or anything to use Uptale. And we even have 10 to 15 years old students that are developing VR content on the platform. Also, I talk a lot about VR since the beginning of this presentation, but when you build a content on Uptale, it can actually be deployed on any devices, any VR headset, but also computers, phones, or tablets. We have a lot of data on the platform. The goal of the data is to check the learner progress, how many sessions, the scores, the transcript of the conversation, for example, if you are using voice recognition. And also, as we are in 2025, we are heavily investing in implementing AI on the platform, mostly for conversational scenarios. To finish this presentation, I wanted to show you a quick video presenting our platform, so Uptale. And please know that you can try it out if you need any. You can try the platform out. So just let us know, like reach out to us after the webinar, and we will activate you like a trial account. And one last thing I wanted to mention is all the data and all the modules available on Uptale. We can do also learning and management system integration. So all those data, all those modules can be available directly on your learning and management system. And thank you so much for listening to the presentation and for your interest again.